fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Happy Transformers Day. That's right, 40 years ago today, the first episode of Transformers More Than Meets the Eye Part 1 aired on television. And I thought to myself, well, I have to do a Transformers review today, right? And since this movie comes out on Friday, I figured it was time to finally get to Deluxe Class Studios series Optimus Prime from the upcoming Transformers 1 movie. This is number 112 in the Studio Series line. Now, I was not sent a giant box of goodies from Hasbro. I bought this figure myself on Amazon quite a while ago at this point, and he's just been waiting his turn to get reviewed. So you can see we have kind of standard Studio Series packaging here. It says Deluxe Class on the side, close-up of Prime. Got the open window here, so we did just hear at PulseCon that the plastic windows are coming back with the next series after United, so that's pretty cool. Some nice artwork of Prime here on the front, and then we have a wider shot, so you can kind of go through the close-up, a little bit less close-up, even further less close-up. So we go through the stages there. Got the Transformers 1 logo there on the top, nothing really going on the bottom, and then here on the back, we have some nice product shots of the robot mode and the vehicle mode. He's got his little backdrop here. It comes with a matrix, it would appear. So yeah, pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and get this guy out of the packaging, and we'll take a closer look. Here is Optimus Prime with the backdrop that is included. It's a pretty cool little picture. Again, haven't seen the movie yet as it comes out on Friday, but I think this looks pretty neat. Obviously, Cybertron in its heyday, back before it was completely Energon depleted. So very cool bit of artwork here. I like this one quite a bit. Here is Prime out of the packaging, and I have to say, the robot mode looks pretty good. Pretty clean, not really any hollow spots or big kibble hanging off the sides or anything like that. The one thing, though, that does drive me completely insane is this little waist piece, and I really just don't understand why it... I mean, I guess technically, spoilers for the transformation, this has to move up a little bit, but mine has fallen off so many times. Like, obviously, if I kind of jostle it all, you can already see how it's kind of popped off over on that side. And so it just falls off all the time. And honestly, I kind of don't have a problem with the look of it not there. For whatever reason, like, this is supposed to come on, and you can see it's just this little circle clipping over this little peg. And when I pop the one on, and then I come around to the other side, and I push it on, and it does kind of like clip in pretty tightly the way it's supposed to, but I don't know if it just got warped in the packaging or what, but like that looks fine. And then, like I said, you're supposed to push it up as part of the transformation, and right there it's staying. But I don't know, it's just weird. It likes to pop off a lot, and it's just, I don't feel like that needed to be a separate piece. I mean, I guess technically to get slightly out of the way for the transformation, but I feel like you could have just molded this onto the legs or something. Like, I don't see the need for this weird diaper piece to be a completely separate piece, and it just, to me, doesn't work that well. Probably during the transformation, it'll pop off and I'll get frustrated and throw it to the side, because it's already happened a few times. But yeah, so he's got this weird diaper piece. I think the head sculpt looks great, though. That is one thing I think they absolutely nailed here. Really, really nicely done there. The paint applications are great. The sculpting is great. The head is on a ball joint, so you can, of course, go side to side. You can look really far up because the ball joint's at the back of the head there for the transformation. This little piece that it's connected to kind of wobbles around a little bit. If you want to utilize that for for articulation, you can. Wobbles side to side ever so slightly. Chest here has some nice translucent blue, and you can probably already see inside the matrix. So we will pop this out of here. It's pegged in pretty tightly, honestly, and can be a little difficult to get out. You kind of have to wiggle it back and forth. There we go. You can see it's just pegged on there. But the way that he holds this is a little weird. So you have to kind of bring this in, but he's got these slits here in the sides of the fist, and then there's this big translucent tab here, and so that kind of pegs in like this. So yeah, that's not great. I don't love that, and it kind of barely even fits in there because it's kind of supposed to be like, I guess, at an angle. It doesn't work very well, and maybe I'm doing something wrong. I thought maybe I'm supposed to slide this in from the bottom or something, But it just, I mean, that kind of works a little better sliding it in from the bottom. And you kind of have to like bring this one over here and then kind of slide this in to these little notches on the fists. I mean, I guess it works. It's just not that great. I think it's kind of weird. Plus, it's weird to see him kind of holding it from the side, but not touching it. Maybe this makes sense in the movie. Maybe it kind of floats between his hands like Tron holding his identity disc up. I don't know. I'm just guessing. But this looks weird. And I just think it's a weird way to have him hold it. But like I said, maybe it'll make more sense once I see the movie. But he does have the Matrix. He can technically hold it. But I just kind of like to put it back in here because I think that's where it looks the coolest. Pegs in very securely. No problems there whatsoever. And this opens and closes pretty easily, which is nice. Plus, I kind of like how you can see it in there through the translucent window. Got a little bit of paint underneath here. Looking pretty good. Honestly, most of this is just different colored plastic. I think for whatever reason, they did these thighs in red. As you can kind of see the tab here, and then painted the rest of them this kind of tannish metal color. You can see that paint also here on the sides and on the shins. A little bit of yellow down here for the toes. I believe then like these forearms are actually molded in that color plastic. And I think these smokestack / gun pieces are the same deal where they're done in red and then painted this color. So you can hold these as a gun if you like. Pop this back over on here. And if you want to like swivel these around and have them use them as like shoulder cannons, you could do that. Rest of his articulation, so you can see here in the shoulder, you get kind of a butterfly joint. You also have a hinge, and then you have a swivel here. And then this kind of pops off due to transformation. But again, if for some reason you would like to display him like this or utilize this as articulation, you can. But it's not really meant to. You have a swivel right above the elbow. 90 degrees there in the elbow. You get a wrist swivel. So that's nice. Kind of a waist swivel. So, and this is something else that kind of bugs me. So if we lift this up, again, spoilers for transformation, but you can see the whole front of the truck here, which I actually think is kind of cool the way it hides underneath. These two tabs are supposed to tab in here and here, but for mine, they don't really. They just don't want to go in. Like this side will a little bit better, and then for whatever reason, you can see there, this one just will not go in. But then when you kind of look at it, if I move the arm out of the way, it doesn't look like there's a ton of space. So maybe it's not supposed to connect all the way, and there's just that weird gap. I don't know. I'm trying to remember what it looked like straight out of the box, and I don't remember. So feel free to let me know your experiences with that piece in the comments below. But yeah, I don't know. Like, you know, the OCD in me wants to push that all the way until they're flush. But then I don't know if that's actually possible because of like this front bumper piece. That might be in as far as it can go. So that might be it. It might just have that gap there. I don't know. But it's a little weird. So like I said, you have... There is still a swivel in there. Because even if we lift this up, you can see the swivel's down there. So it's not having anything to do with that little bit. And also this piece moves for some reason on a hinge. And I don't know why. But it does. Then we have... You can kind of move this piece up. Now, again, it's hindering your waist articulation. So this is another reason why I don't understand why this piece wasn't just molded onto the leg. Like this whole thing. You know what? We're just going to call it. I'm done with it. Well, I'll put it back for transformation just so you can see where it goes. But you can see how much more leg articulation you can get without that piece. Like it's just, it doesn't need to exist. If you had to do something, you could have molded part of it onto the leg here, but then I guess maybe that would hit into this, and it's just, I don't like it. I don't like, it was a dumb solution for whatever they thought they were fixing. It's just bad. Thigh swivel there. Maybe slightly over 90 degrees there in the knee. You get some front to back toe movement there. You get really nice ankle tilt. Pretty much 90 degrees. So really nice ankle tilt there. So honestly, for the robot mode, he looks pretty good. If you're planning on just kind of, you know, having this as a robot on your desk, I don't think you'll be disappointed. Transformation's a little wonky, in my opinion, but we'll get there. I'll put this stupid waist piece back on. I'm going to be honest with you, like, after this video, that waist piece is going in a box, and I'm never looking at it again, because it doesn't need to be there. It almost looks out of place when it is there. Like, I've gotten used to it not being there, and I kind of like the look of that better. But anyway, robot mode looks good. Now, he does have a couple of accessories. He does, of course, have the axe. It's not orange. It's blue this time, which is, I guess, a little better. But this just pops right in the fist. Honestly, I feel like the deluxe class one, the Prime Changers, did it better. Like, this is just kind of boring. It just plops on top of the hand, and you can see the hand in there, and it's just eh. And then he's got this weird thing that I guess gives him guns in vehicle mode, and they want you to hide it underneath, so you can lift this up. And so you can see these, like, ridges here, like that top part there will slot into these little notches here, so you can kind of pop this on there like that, and then just hide this on the back. So, I mean, that's kind of nice storage, because it almost becomes completely invisible in the robot mode. But yeah, overall, I think the robot mode looks good. Like I said, there's that gap underneath there. I don't know if that's preventable, but when you kind of look at it straight on, you don't really see it. Because, like, you'd have to look at it from, like, this angle. So if you're just kind of looking at them straight on, you don't really see it. So I guess it's not that big a problem. I don't like this piece here. Otherwise, I think, you know, shoulder movement, head sculpt looks great. All the movement and articulation in the legs and everything is fine. This is a little boring, but can never get away from that axe. It had 5 seconds of screen time 40 years ago, and it's been haunting us ever since. All right, and of course I got to do the comparison to said Prime Changer. You can see, honestly, quite a difference in size there. So when you think about the fact that these are both technically deluxe class, I got to give it to Studio Series. They gave the height. Like, that works. I kind of like the lighter gray here. This kind of yellowish gray, I don't like that much. I don't hate it, but now when I see it next to this, I like this a lot better. Obviously, this guy doesn't have like a chest that opens for a matrix or anything like that. Again, I do think his axe is a little bit more successful because the piece that pegs over the fist hides that fist completely and kind of shows a new hand here with this kind of forming in the palm of his hand and then forming the axe. And it's painted blue instead of being translucent. I kind of like that better. He's still got the same trick here with the guns. You can move them around. You can hold them. You can peg them in there as smokestacks. Head sculpt's a little bit more simplistic, but, you know, not bad. Now, I mean, there's only a $5 difference here. This is 20, this is 25. So again, if you're just looking to display the robot mode, I think this guy has the edge. With the exception of this, like, yellowish gray, which, again, when I first looked at it, wasn't that bad, but now that I put them next to each other, it just makes it look so much more yellow. And it honestly feels like the plastic has yellowed. It hasn't. I believe this is the color they intended. But it's funny how much worse it looks next to this normal gray plastic. There's definitely a choice. But I do think robot mode, again, just putting this on a shelf, it does look good. I like the size, the head sculpt's great. If you just want something that's probably a little bit more fun to transform back and forth, you might want to go for this one and save $5. If you're looking for a display piece, I think this one might be a little better because this guy's got no ankle tilt. That is one thing that always bummed me about him. But let's go ahead. Let's get into his transformation. All right, so if you haven't yet, go ahead and open this up and remove this piece. Put that off to the side for now. We are going to start by taking the head and turning it around 180 degrees and then laying it flat like that and then pushing this whole piece down inside like so. Then we are going to lift this up, take this back piece here, and kind of before everything else gets in the way, flip this around, just kind of leave it up like that. Once this is back, we are going to flip out this whole front section of the truck, which again, I think that's pretty cool. It reminds me of like Earthrise Prime, where he had all those pieces for the front kind of like layered inside his chest. I thought that was kind of neat. So then you're going to take the arms and you're going to bring them down like I showed earlier. But then there's another bend you can see on this piece right here where this is actually going to fold down like that. And then this is going to come up and straighten this out. You can see that there's a little tab right there, which is going to tab in right there. So this will come in like this. And then this little tab right here will tab in right there to the arms. So bring that in and peg that in like that. We're going to repeat that process. So bring this down, fold it out, and then bring this in, push that in against the side, and bring this in like so, and tab that in. And you can kind of see the beginnings here. Then you can go ahead and just drop this down on top like so. Straighten out the arms here. You're going to take, you might want to actually bring this back just a little bit more. We're going to spin this at this waist swivel that I showed earlier. So spin that around 180 degrees, but make sure you're not hitting into the back so you can actually spin it. And the cool thing is it kind of lines up his spine. You can see how it kind of lines up like that. That's kind of neat. Then you're going to fold this back in. This is where you have to take this piece and just flip it up like that. Now you can see it's already popped off. So I have to pop it back on. But that is where it's just supposed to sit up there. So the only reason it moves at all is so that it can slide up slightly so that you can get these legs up high enough to be where they need to be. So for the legs, I wanted to get in close here because this messed me up the first time. You have to bring them all the way up to fill in that space. And then you can see that there's a little red tab here, and it's going to tab into this spot on the side of the forearm. So you have to make sure that's all the way up. You also do that because otherwise these wheels will not line up. And then I forgot a step. So the other thing we have to do, I'm like, where is the thing? This piece here, and really you can do it now, it doesn't really matter. This is going to flip around, and then this piece here is going to peg into the fist. So this comes up. It's actually easier to do it now, so I did that on purpose. We'll say that. If you haven't already tucked the foot down, it just sits down like that. So we're going to basically repeat this process over here. Make sure that this leg is all the way up as far as it can go. And then you can see that these two are going to peg together like so. If you have any ankle tilt going on, make sure you straighten that out. This will then peg in here and then rotate this piece around and it will peg into the fist. And there is Optimus Prime in truck mode. So the truck mode's okay. I mean, I don't know. It's not much of a truck mode to begin with, let's be honest. It might not necessarily be the fault of the toy designer and more so the designer of the movie designs. It's just not a super interesting vehicle mode. I mean, I understand it's Prime, he's a truck, and this kind of looks like a cab with a trailer. I get it. It's surprisingly how little you have to do to transform it. Like, the arms just hang here. Like, this is his complete arm just hanging here on the side, forearm and fist and everything. Now, they do a decent job of having the fist peg onto this piece so that it kind of doesn't look like a hand as much, but it's still his entire arm just hanging there. I mean, these are really just his two legs just right here. You know, this piece, like I said, you can leave it off. It doesn't need to be here. You know, it's just kind of filling the space. I guess it's fine. The translucent, you know, window up here, again, you can still see the matrix. That's cool. You can move these around if you want. I forgot to mention that you're supposed to, where did I put that axe? Here it is. You're supposed to feed that through this little piece here between the two legs. Let me see if I can do this without too much difficulty. That's actually not bad. And then you're supposed to feed, I think, this direction through that little hole and then peg them back together. And then that's Hold on, that can't be right. This is square and that's supposed to go together. I don't know. I don't know where this was supposed to go. The directions show somewhere of there being a spot to loop through this, but I don't see it now, so I don't know. Oh, I see what they're... Okay, I was reading it wrong. It's not the hole. It's these pieces on the side here. They're supposed to link underneath his kneecaps, I guess. So then that can kind of store in there. There we go. We got there. We got there. So, yeah. I mean, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Just storing that in there or just put it off to the side. The other piece, these little guns here, they're supposed to tab into these little spots on the bottom. So you just line these up and just push them in there. And that's fine, I guess. I don't know. He's already got these two on the side, so I wonder why these two were necessary, but they're there. So those are the accessories for the vehicle mode. You know, it rolls decently. It's not too bad. Like I said, it's just funny to me how little you actually have to do. I mean, really, all you have to do is push the head in, flip out the like grill piece here, and then lay the arms down and bring the legs up. And that's it. That's really all you do. Granted, we've had Primes that transform less, I guess. I mean, Prime's legs out to the back, not really anything new, but yeah, I don't know. It's fine. It's not wowing me. It's not amazing. It's just, it's okay. So there's nothing particularly wrong with this figure. There are definitely a few things that I nitpick that annoy me, but there's a lot to like here as well. I love the head sculpt. I think they did a fantastic job on that. That's a wonderful Prime head. I think the legs look good. I appreciate that there are no hollow spots, and even just kind of switching this piece 180 around the back of the leg is fine. You have a little bit of hollowness here on the bottom of the legs, but that doesn't really bother me at all. Overall, you know, very clean, very little kibble. I think the robot mode looks pretty good. Things that have driven me crazy is this waist piece here. I don't really understand the need for it. I wish it worked a little bit better, or maybe it just had a pin through it so that it would always stay on. The way that they executed it, it feels kind of cheap. And the other thing is, when you try to move the legs at all, because naturally if I want to move the leg, I kind of want to hold here to move the leg, and it kind of makes it naturally pop off. Of course, now it's not going to do it while I'm on camera, so of course. But you kind of have to move that if you want to get, you know, as much articulation as you can. So this piece is kind of hindering articulation when I try to naturally like grab, like there, I just did it there. So it just, this weird diaper thing, it kind of drives me crazy. It doesn't stay on very well. It hinders articulation. When you try to move it, it pops off. Again, is it a deal breaker? No. Is it just slightly annoying? Yes. I just wish they would have found a better way to do that. Whether they would have molded these pieces onto the legs and just molded this onto the crotch, or, you know, made it, like I said, a pin straight through the torso. I don't know. Something, it doesn't work for me the way that it works. Like I said, I also have this gap here, which it just will not peg in any further, and maybe it's not supposed to, but like that kind of bothers me. It's not a huge deal breaker again, but it is bothersome. The like yellowish gray, I don't love, and the more you look at it on its own, you don't notice it that much, but then when you bring in like the deluxe class one, the Prime Changers, and you see that normal gray, it makes it look so yellow. So I don't know, I just don't know why they didn't just go with like a regular color gray. It's just weird. Accessory wise, I think both of these are kind of lame. This little thing, it only works in the one mode. He can't use it as a weapon or anything in the robot mode, and I just don't think it's needed. I mean, you have these two pieces here. I just don't get the need for this, and it's a flimsy kind of piece of plastic. The translucent axe, it's fine, I guess. It just plops onto his hand, but it's kind of boring, and I'm tired of these stupid axe weapons. I know it's in the movie, so that's why it had to be included here, but I don't know. I also think that this one executed it a little better. So at the end of the day, like I said, is there anything wrong with this figure? Not wrong. I mean, there are a few things that are annoying, but I wouldn't say any of them are like hardcore deal breakers that you shouldn't buy this. If you just want a cool looking Optimus with a fantastic head sculpt to be on your shelf, I think this is probably the better one. I think when you put these two next to each other, I think this one looks more impressive. It does look like a Studio Series figure. If you want something that's more fun to play with, I think this is the one to go for. I just think, you know, it doesn't have, like, you can see here, like, this piece was just put up here. You still get full range out of the leg. There's no weird diaper piece. He can still have waist swivel. Like, they solved it over here. Why didn't they just apply the exact same thing over here? I don't get that. So I definitely think if you're just looking for aesthetics, I think this one probably looks more impressive. But I think the other one's more fun if you're looking for something to actually transform back and forth. Transformation for this is not hard. In fact, it's kind of stupidly simple. You really just kind of flip this up, flip this down, flip the front of the grill out, spin this around, throw the legs back, and drop the arms to the side. I mean, it's not really that many steps, honestly. So yeah, kind of a stupidly simple transformation. Vehicle mode's fine. Again, I think where this thing really shines, though, is just the robot mode. If you just want to look at this, then you're good to go. This looks good from this right here. Don't look here or here. But from this angle, boom, this looks good. So, like I said, this is the aesthetic one. The other one's more fun to play with. That's where I'm at. Let me know what you think in the comments below. You think I'm being too harsh on this? Do you agree? Which one did you find more fun? Do you have both? Or did you pick one or the other, and why? So let me know in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.